Number one, just a reminder in case you haven't been looking at the syllabus and following the schedule. 1 week from today, that is Thursday, the 11th of September, we will be having our first exam. So that is 1 week from today, okay? Just to make sure everybody is clear on that. I have uploaded for you a sample exam from last year from my Anatomy and Phys 2 class. Don't worry if the questions don't make sense because you haven't covered that material and you won't until next semester, okay? Is everybody clear on that? However, it will give you a very good idea of what the exact format of the exam is going to be. I want everybody to make sure that you can download that, or not download it, because I said it to not download. Make sure that you look it over before you leave today, okay? Just take a minute whenever you got a chance, call up on your phone. It should be no big deal. The exam itself is going to be over chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I will suggest that you focus on the notes more so than the book, because we've bounced around a fair amount and covered some things that are not really in there. I will try my best to make sure that I am extra available this weekend in case that you have questions while you're studying. And I'm bringing this up because I don't want you to wait until Wednesday night, okay? The exams are not hard, but if you don't prepare for it, if you wait that long, you're not going to learn it. Somebody asked me what the best way to study is. What I always used to do was basically at the end of the day, read over the notes that I had taken one time and then set them aside. I didn't try to memorize everything. I didn't try to quiz myself on it. I simply made sure that I refreshed myself over the material, and more importantly, that I understood it. If you don't understand this, Wednesday night at midnight is not the time today, okay? I'm a night owl, I'm generally up late. Wednesday nights are not the nights. I have about an 11 or 12 hour day on Thursdays, so as you might imagine, I go to bed a little bit earlier Wednesday nights. If I don't answer you over the weekend, it's not because I don't like you, it probably means there's a UT football game on. Seriously though, don't hesitate to contact me, okay? The best way by far, remember, is what? Email. And I don't mean the little message system on Blackboard that has to forward something to me to let me know, and then I have to log into Blackboard, find it, call up your message, and reply that way. I can't just send an email. If you send me an email, chances are very good I will get it. I'm like obsessed with checking in. So everybody clear on that? Now we've covered chapters 1 through 4. I gave everybody a bit of a review on Tuesday. Next up is chapter 5, plus we're going to finish the review for the exam. And I'm going to give you all, do you have a question?
Yeah, I won't be here Thursday at all. I have 2 doctor's appointments. Is there any way I can do the exam early?
Talk to me separately after class. And thank you for letting me know. It'll be no problem, you'll be excused. Is everybody okay with that? Where was that? Oh, chapter 1 through 4 we've covered. So between today and Tuesday, we're going to do chapter 5, and we are going to finish our review and give you a preview for the test. I can do it either way you want to. And by that I mean, if we wait until Tuesday to do the complete review, you're only gonna have 2 days to study for it, right? If we do it today, you'll have the weekend. I know none of you will use it, but at least we can maintain the illusion for the 1 or 2 people that might be tempted to actually use their time wisely. It doesn't matter to me, I'm completely okay either way. How many of you want to do the review today? Raise your hands. Okay, how many of you want to do it Tuesday? Raise your hands. Looks like today wins, okay? I did record the lecture and partial review that we did on Tuesday. It is uploading to YouTube as we speak, assuming I've done this right, which is really sketchy with me. You know how I am about technology. I'm shocked that the sample exam made it to Blackboard. Was everybody able to file it up? Were there any questions about the format, or is it very straightforward?
Pretty straightforward.
Okay. Since you all have been doing so well, paying attention, working hard, I'm gonna do my best to make sure I give you 12 questions and you'll only have to answer 10. That means there will be a couple of questions on there that you can burn. Does that sound fair to everyone? I don't normally like going the extra effort, but I don't mind reciprocating what you all have done. And like I said, I'm pretty proud of what you guys have achieved. So, make sure at the end of class, you make me check to make sure that the video is uploaded and that everybody can access it, okay? Can y'all remind me to do that? Where did we end in our review for the exam? Cancer. The definition of cancer, uncontrolled cell division. The 4 stages of cancer. Stage 1 is simply abnormal cell division. Literally, the definition is stage 1. It's not really causing a problem. It may not even be detectable by most methods, but it is there. And it is only going to progress. And how it progresses, which stage it goes to, how fast it goes, all that's very variable depending on the exact form of cancer, the location, and so forth, right? Stage 2, tumorogenesis or tumor formation. That's where you now have this distinct clump of abnormal cells that have their own blood supply and they're dividing actively. It's growing. Stage 2 is going to be more obvious in your detection. You may not see it. The key here is it's still generally not causing trouble. You may have an unsightly bump on your skin. You may have a mole that's gotten a little raised and seems to be getting bigger and discolored. But really, truly, you're not having any real issues. You're not restricted in mobility. You're not having a lot of pain, that sort of thing. Stage 3 is invasion. This is where it becomes a problem. It starts pushing into the surrounding tissue. That raised mole is now cracked and bleeding. It's spreading over your skin. You really have a very obvious knot. You have problems. It may be pressing on a nerve, causing you some pain. You might be having some indigestion or heartburn. Again, it all depends on where the cancer is, what it is. Stage 3 is a problem. It is definitely needing treatment, and it needs it now. One thing that surprises a lot of people is speed with which doctors move when they find a stage 3 cancer. Really, when they find cancer of any kind. If you ever have your wisdom teeth out, I'm sure you get to kind of pick the day, right? Several of you are not, you have it taken out. It's not something you have to get it done tomorrow. With cancer, chances are very good, if they find something stage 3, they may very well schedule you for surgery tomorrow. Get the idea? The key difference between 3 and 4 is that even though the tumor is big, even though it's starting to press and push, crowd out those surrounding tissues, it hasn't broken up and transferred itself throughout the body. One thing you'll find when they do the cancer surgery, they'll very often take out the lymph nodes as well. Why? Because they want to examine them. They'll actually pull out the lymph node, put it under the scope, and see if they can see any cancer cells in there. Because if the cancer cells are in the lymph nodes near the tumor, then the chances are it has moved to stage 4, which is metastasis. They say cancer has metastasized, or they say it's metastasis, it's stage 4. This is where fragments of the tumor have broken off, gotten into the circulatory system or the lymphatic system, and they spread. And at this point, surgery may not really be a viable option because you're going to have multiple tumors in multiple areas. And it's really, really hard to treat because you're never sure that you get it. Are all these stages distinct? No, they kind of blend and blur into each other, don't they? Because it's continuing. We just like to draw lines because it makes it easy to categorize it. I showed y'all my little scar, told you about that little tumor I had. Was it technically stage 2 or was it really stage 1? For all intents and purposes, it could be classified as either. It was technically a tumor, but it was so small, so slow growing. Basically, the doctor said, if we took that out, no problem. If we didn't take it out, you'd have a hard knot there 40 years from now, but it would still be no problem. So I said, the biopsy, I had to take it out, but you get the idea. You laugh at me better. So, y'all feel good about cancer? I'm very like, did he say that right? Do you feel good about your understanding of it? Okay. And make sure that you can talk about the 4 stages. One of the questions probably says something like list and describe. If I have seen people make a mistake, is that they don't answer the question that I ask. And by that I mean, if I say list, I mean you list stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, right? But describe means you also tell me something about those stages. Stage 1, if all you said was cancer forms, do you think I'm going to give you credit? Because that's stage 1, isn't it? Better answer would be to say uncontrolled cell division. But if you put uncontrolled cell growth, if you put cancer starts, cancer forms, I'm going to give you full credit on any of those because you show me you understand the concept. Stage 2, the best answer would be tumorigenesis, right? But if you said just clump cells, are you wrong? Because you describe what it is. Is everybody clear on that? Is cancer curable? I see a few yes, I see a few no's. The answer is technically no. What they do is they eliminate or eradicate. Okay? Here is something that I want you to make sure that you understand. Cancer is never considered cured. Ever. If you go 5 years, in some cases 10, but generally it's 5, and you don't have a recurrence, then they will consider you functionally cured. You understand what I mean by functionally cured? They are basically saying you are no longer at a higher risk for cancer than anyone else of your general age, gender, and health. Is everybody clear on that? Who's the highest risk person in here?
You.
Because I'm. If I had a twin brother, and that twin had cancer. Who would be the highest risk, me or my twin? My twin, depending on when he had the cancer, right? If he had it in the last 5 years, he's considered elevated risk. If he had it 15 years ago, believe it or not, he and I are considered back to base. The reason for that is, how many cells does it take to generate a tumor? Just one. Even that little tiny self-contained thing that they cut out could have conceivably broken off and spread at any point, couldn't it? I just want you to make sure you understand that there's a lot of variation in treatment of cancer. You get some very aggressive forms, you go in and they violently tell you you've got, 3 months to live, 3 days later you're dead. It's possible. I know people, my cousin's husband, he had colon cancer and they told him he had less than 6 months. He lived another 20 years. Had incredible willpower, he had no problem. He signed up for every crazy treatment. Came down the pike, he was like, yeah, use me as a guinea pig. Guy was an ex-Green Beret, he'd go behind the lines, and that tells you something about his attitude. Just keep in mind that it's one of those things, you always have a risk of it, don't you? If you walk out on a sunny day, you're elevating your cancer risk. It's just part of being alive. So any questions on cancer? Okay. We talked about chemistry, didn't we? Characteristics of water. Did anybody need me to go over that?
You can.
You need me to? Thumbs up if you want me to. Okay. Remember that water is a polar molecule. Polar. That means it has a positive and a negative side, right? The positive side are the ones with the hydrogen atoms bound to it. What is the overall net charge of water? Zero. It is not positive, it is not negative. Boy, I'm glad we are doing this today. Some of y'all really need to work on this. Let's be honest with me. I want to see you show of hands. I want honesty. How many of you have been studying regularly for this class? And it's fine, I'm not getting on to anybody. I want an honest opinion. Folks, if you don't put the time in outside the class, you're not going to do well. It's just a rule. Y'all know what goes into determining credit hours, the general rule of thumb? Would you like to know? A standard full load for a college freshman is 15 hours per semester. You heard that? I know 12 is considered full-time, but if you want to get a degree in 4 years, you'll need 120 credit hours, which means 15 hours per semester times 8 semesters. It's based on the idea that you spend 2 hours outside of class for every 1 hour you are in class. Did you know that? If you do that, it comes out to exactly 40 hours a week. When we say full-time, we mean full-time. Now, I'm totally aware that all of us have jobs outside, that's right. Commuting takes time. I told you I've got an 11 or 12 hour day today. 2 hours of that is because I choose to live an hour away from my work. That's on me. But it's still 2 hours out of today's time, isn't it? I choose to use it because I listen to audiobooks. Oh, that is my thing. Plus with my back, by the time 5:30 rolls around and I'm wobbling out the door, you better believe I'm gonna put the bun warmer on in my car. That's what I call the heated seats. Hey, I consider that an assist. That's not a luxury. By the time I get home, I'm actually feeling all right. I'm worn down. Assuming I don't run into the usual idiots on the road. Then my blood pressure spikes. My doctor calls me up and has conversations. I'm not telling you that you have to spend 2 hours a week for every hour in your class. But I'm telling you that's what is considered the rule of thumb for mastery. I know you all are not used to things that last 10 minutes. Am I right? I see several of you looking down, picking at your skin, playing with your strings on your hoodie, going to sleep, doodling. Trust me, I understand. No matter how dynamic the speaker or how interesting the material, it's easy to wander, right? But you gotta have self-discipline if you want to succeed. It's just that simple. When I was learning to walk again, every single exercise I did caused me pain. Why did I keep doing it? Any ideas?
You wanted to.
I wanted to walk. You got it. I don't know about you, but it's nice to not have to wait on somebody to push me out into a van and get me up in a wheelchair. I may joke about using the heated seats, but it is nice to be able to go, isn't it? I knew I had to work hard. I knew I had to endure, and I think it shows it paid off, right? So please, 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 do me one favor this weekend. What is it? Study. And I really appreciate y'all being honest. I hope you don't think I'm getting on to you. That's not what I'm here for. I want to encourage you. I want you to be successful. I want you to realize this is time you paid for. It's an investment in your own future. Did you realize that? How many of you would be willing to give me $1 today if I give you $100 at the end of the semester? You have to trust me. A couple of you know. That literally is what an education is. If you give 10 minutes of your time today and you pay $1 for 10 minutes, well, it might be 10 years, but you will see the reward. I promise you. I think it's kind of obvious on what I do. A lot of you are like, yeah, you're way too excited in the morning. Blame the caffeine. This is my second cup of coffee that size. I have another one sitting in my car ready to go. It's not very good by 1 or 2 o'clock, but boy, I need it. Be doing something you love and you never have to work a day in your life. Okay, so enough of the pep talk. That wasn't much of a pep talk. Well, I tried motivation for this again, okay? So, water is a polar molecule. That means it has no net charge. All of the pluses are canceled out by the minuses. It's a 0. There are no ions involved, right? But because of the way you have the hydrogens on one side, you've got more protons on that side, don't you? That means they are going to be positively charged on that side. You sum the whole thing overall at 0, but that side is slightly positive. Everybody agree? Well, if that's slightly positive, what's the other side going to be?
Slightly negative.
Slightly negative. Good job. Do opposites attract?
Yes.
Yes, they do. If you don't believe that, Google Bill Belichick. Got 73 and got a 24-year-old girlfriend. Kind of creepy. Opposites do attract hydrogen bonds. Do water molecules bond to each other? Yes, they do. It's weak, it's temporary, but it is a real bond. So am I clear on that? Those are called what type of bonds? Hydrogen, the weakest. That means water has a high specific heat. Another way you can say that is that water is a good heat sink. You could tell me either of those. They're the same thing, aren't they? Even though those bonds are weak individually, in a given container of water, there's a lot of them, aren't there? You gotta really put some heat in that to raise the temperature. And that is what we mean when we say water has a high specific heat. What does that mean for humans? It's a good coolant, sweat. Is everybody clear on that? It also means that hydrogen is a near universal solvent. What does that mean? It can dissolve pretty much anything. Good job. The only thing it can't dissolve are polar or non-polar molecules. Non-polar molecules. Cannot dissolve non-polar molecules. Everybody clear on that? Can it dissolve ionic atoms? Who have I not picked up? Have I picked up you yet?
Not good.
What are ions?
Whenever, a molecule has like a plus or negative.
Good job. An atom with a positive or minus charge, or a molecule with a positive or minus charge. Good job. Can we dissolve ions in water either?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's near universal solvent. I didn't say non-polar, I said ions. An example would be salt. Can we dissolve salt in water? Sure can. Don't believe me? Do an experiment tonight. Go home, get your glass of water, get your tablespoon of salt, stick it in and stir it. Take a sip. You'll know it's salty, won't you? Can it dissolve polar substances?
No.
Polar? Who said no? Don't raise your hand. Can it dissolve polar substances better? Yes, it can. Two examples. Can we dissolve sugar in water? You don't believe me? I see a lot of you have got sodas at various events. What are you drinking?
Alani.
Huh?
Alani.
Oh boy, sitting next to Pringles, keep that away from me, I will be tempted. Pringles are my downfall. You ever had a soda? You know it's sweet, right? Because sugar's dissolved in it. It's not the only organic compound in there, is it? Caffeine, does it dissolve in water? Quite well. My coffee. Those are solids at room temperature. Did you know that? However, when you put them into water and stir, they dissolve. They're taken up. That property is called solubility. The solubility of these things is high. Can you dissolve another liquid?
Yes.
Sure can. Alcohol, mixed drinks, believe it or not. Y'all know the rule about 1 drink per hour. I'm sure you've heard that and all the anti-drinking campaigns going around. More than that, you're drunk. Well, basically, they define 1 drink as 1 12-ounce beer. You drink 1 can of beer over an hour, you're okay, right? But if you look at the glass of wine, it's only about 1/3 of what you have in a 12-ounce beer. Because the amount of alcohol dissolved in that wine is considerably higher. Beer's 3 to 5%, wine is 10 to 12%. If you're doing shots of tequila or whiskey, heaven forbid. Better not be doing shots. The shot glass is not much bigger than that, is it? That's because whiskey is typically about 40% alcohol. Y'all wanna hear the first time I had whiskey? This will definitely make you laugh. I was younger than you are now. And we were helping Mom clean out the kitchen. We found an old bottle of Jack Daniels that had about that much left in it. I asked Mom what to do with it. She said, "Sit it out and tell your dad. He can decide what he wants to do with it." I forgot about it. Just before I was going to sleep, I was thirsty. So I decided to get up and get myself a glass of water, which means I had to go all the way to the other end of the house, get in the fridge, get some nice peanut butter, right? Mom and Dad's room was right across the hall from mine. Dad's sitting on the edge of his bed drinking Coke. Well, I don't really want a full glass of anything. I'll just ask Dad for a sip of this Coke. water in there, he says, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm still thirsty. I said, can I have some of that? He looks at me, you sure? I said, yeah. He said, okay. I learned then, what he had in the glass was not Coca-Cola. I started hacking, wheezing, sputtering. Dad was just laughing. So he said, I guess I don't have to worry about you drinking, do I? Well, I learned if you're going to drink whiskey, you probably want to dilute it. But you're able to because of solubility. Alcohol is polar, isn't it? It's like water. So those alcohol molecules, hydrogen bond to the water molecules. Everybody clear on that? And well, that means that water is a good transporter. You could say for humans then, water's a good coolant, water's a good solvent, water's a good transporter. That would make a great list and describe question, wouldn't it? List and describe 3 uses of water to the human body. Y'all like that one? I could follow that up and say, what is the property of water that allows it to be useful? Does anybody want to try to answer that one? Y'all make me glad I'm not a samurai. Code of Bushido, which the samurai followed, basically said there was no such thing as failure. You either succeeded or you died trying. If you didn't succeed and you didn't die, then you could remove the stain on your honor by taking yourself out. If you can't answer that question, I have failed you. What did we just say that allows water to form hydrogen bonds? Polarity is the property. If you said hydrogen bonds are the property, do you think I'd give you credit? Sure would. But you need to understand what's going on at the molecular level, right? Is everybody clear on that? What property allows humans to use water? I'm pointing at you in the blue shirt because I can't remember.
Say that again?
What property of water allows it to be useful to humans? And yes, I'm picking because that's not giving you.
I know this too, that's what sides.
Who can help her out? I just told you all.
I know it's polar
Yeah.
now, I didn't know that's what you were asking.
That's fine. Everybody clear on that? Riley's over there saying, man, I wish he'd cut back on his caffeine. I told you all. Am I an addict? Of course I am. The worst thing ever for me was the best thing. When I taught Costa Rica for the University of Georgia, my little hacienda was right smack dab in the middle of a grove of coffee trees. We had a coffee plantation right down the road, wasn't even a kilometer away. And what they would do is they would sell organic, shade-grown, free trade, fair trade coffee for as fresh as you could get it. They sold it for $10 a pound. We had unlimited coffee from that place at the college. Oh, you better believe that spoiled you right. That stuff was as smooth as silk. Come back and I have to put up the Folgers. Is everybody with me? What are the 3 types of chemical bonds? Let's see if somebody can give me an answer. If I don't see a hand up, I'll pick up somebody. Covalent, ionic, and hydrogen. And you listed them in order of decreasing strength. Outstanding. What happens to the electrons in the covalent bond? Who can answer me? Somebody besides you. Cynthia's got her hand up. What happens to the electrons in the covalent bond?
They're shared between 2 atoms.
They're shared between 2 atoms. What happens to the electrons in an ionic bond?
They transfer.
They transfer. One loses, one gains. Good job. What happens to the electrons in a hydrogen bond?
They shoot nothing.
Nothing. Because it's not a bond between electrons. It's a trick question. What is the equivalent mass of a proton? What's the equivalent mass of a proton? One. Remember that table? Protons have a mass of 1, electrons have a mass of 0, neutrons have a mass of 1. What is the charge on a proton?
Positive.
Positive. What's the charge on an electron?
Negative.
Negative. What's the charge on a neutron? Neutral or 0 or none? Neutral, 0 or none? Remember that table I gave you? Make sure you can reproduce it.
Do we get to use our, periodic tables?
Yes, you definitely get to use your periodic tables. Bring in a hard copy or an electronic copy. I may need to see it, but generally I operate on the principle of actual trust, which I know may seem terribly outdated and naive. But I really never believe in treating adults who are paying to be here as criminals. Honestly, truly, if you're gonna cheat, you can probably get away with it. But I really want you to ask yourself why you would do that if you are a person who's planning on doing it. And ask yourself the next time you go to the emergency room with a life-threatening condition, if you want a doctor or a nurse who has cheated their way through med school. Most of you going into medicine, you're gonna make decisions that could cost somebody their life. Did you realize that? I'm alive today and walking because I had a second doctor who overruled the first doctor on a bunch of things. She knew me, she knew my background. Did I tell you about her leaving the PICC line in for 16 weeks? Most doctors would not do that. That was an extraordinary level of trust between us. But I knew that she was an amazing physician. She was completely competent, and she had no problem being completely straight with me. It's one of the reasons I do as well as I do today. So everybody clear on that? Good job asking that. You're definitely gonna be able to bring that in. How many of you would prefer a hard copy handed out, and how many of you would prefer if I post it onto Blackboard? So hard copy, hands up. Blackboard? Okay. I can do it either way, I've got no problem, I just wanna make sure I run off those copies. Okay, where were we? We went through water, we went through the atoms, we went through the definition of ion, types of chemical bonds. Make sure you know from the periodic table, the atomic number, the atomic mass, what they are, what they mean. Atomic number is just the number of protons, atomic mass is the number of protons plus neutrons. Know where the protons and neutrons are located, which is the nucleus. Know where the electrons are located, which is the orbits or shells. What is the valence orbit or the valence shell? It is the outermost orbit. Covalent bond, co means share, valent means you share electrons. You're sharing those between your outer orbits, right? The goal of every atom is an empty, or no, a full outer shell, sorry. Full outer orbit. It's gonna do that by kicking things out. It's gonna do that by bringing electrons in. It's gonna do that by sharing. True or false, helium will react chemically. False. Riley is shaking his head and he is correct. Anything in that last column is an inert gas. It will not ever form another molecule. There's only going to be one trick question on the exam, and I will try to trick you, so I'm telling you in advance. I guarantee you that of the 5 chemical equations you have to balance, One of them is going to contain something from the last column. When you see that, you know I'm trying to trick you, so you're gonna write no reaction does not occur. Please don't write in vicinity. I actually had a student write BS, only he didn't abbreviate. I did give him credit though. It's not because I'm trying to trick you, it's because I want to make sure you understand what's going on. Why do they not form chemical bonds? Because they have a full orbit. They don't want to give up, they don't want to take, they don't want to share.
What?
You okay?
Yes, I'm tired.
All right, so everybody feel comfortable with chemicals? Know what pH is. What are we measuring with pH? We are measuring the concentration of protons, right? Below 7 is an acid, above 7 is a base, 7 is neutral.
You said that again.
Below 7 is a base, or is an acid, above 7 is a base, 7 is neutral. The definition of an acid is a proton donor. The definition of a base is an electron, or not an electron, but a proton acceptor. An acid is a proton donor, a base is a proton acceptor. What about neutral? It's neutral. It doesn't donate or accept, does it? What's a buffer? It's a substance that can accept excess protons or donate needed protons. True or false, the pH scale is used to measure strong acids. False. It's only used to measure relatively weak acids or bases. You may, in your readings or studies, encounter the term alkaline. If you ever see that, it basically means base. So alkali or alkaline means a pH above 7. If I asked you for the definition of pH and you said, or I've asked you for the definition of an acid, let's say, an acid, okay? And you say pH less than 7, am I going to give you full credit? Yes, because you have answered the question. If you say it is a proton donor, will I give you full credit? Yes, because you answered the question. See the advantage of having this type of exam? It gives you a lot more flexibility. Any questions? Okay. Say pH, electrons, atoms. Know the difference between atom and molecule, element and compound. Know the terms solvent, solute, and solution. Make sure that you study the vocabulary on the very first page of each chapter. So that's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'll have 10 definitions. That'll be one question that you can't skip, okay? There'll be a point each. I will either give you the term and you give me the definition, or I will give you the definition and you give me the term. Those will be mostly, notice I did not say all, but mostly from those vocab sections on the first page. The other two places I will get them would be section 1.8. I believe I asked you to know all those terms. Distal, proximal, ipsilateral, contralateral, that sort of thing. Just make sure you can answer that in your own terms. And then the third source of definitions would be things that we've talked about in the lecture that are functional. Like the definition of an acid. What is it? Huh?
A pH below 7.
Proton donor, pH less than 7. Either one or both, you get full credit. What's the definition of cancer?
Rapid cell division or uncontrolled cell division.
Uncontrolled cell division, rapid cell division, I'd give you full credit for either of those, okay? It just shows a functional understanding of not only the terminology, but also the concept. Everybody clear on that? That is one question that you're not going to be able to skip. Okay? That one and the one on balancing chemical equations, you have to answer those two. That'll be question 1 and question 2. And then you'll have 10 that you'll pick 8 from. That sound fair? Yes, ma'am.
Could we do all 12? Would that be like bonus points, or would that just be part? Okay.
That would be showing off. Which is fine. I'll never tell anybody you can't show off, but it won't impress me. I will tell you this. Generally, I don't tell the class this before, but since you all have been working hard and seem a little extra scared, I'll tell you this. I give you back half of the points that you miss on the first exam if you do corrections of what you missed. So if you miss 2 points and you correct the one thing you get, you bump your 98 to a 99. If you show up, forgot to study, and you're hungover and you take it and you get a 50, if you do corrections on all the questions that you missed, you'll bring it up to 75. That way the first test doesn't trip people up. And after that, I generally don't do it because you should know how I test and what's going to be on it. Does that sound okay? How do y'all feel about this now? Ready for it? Do you at least understand what's going to be on it and that you can cover it? Okay, I want you all to do something else. I want you each to take the next 30 minutes and I want you to come up with 10 possible test questions to turn in. You go through your notes and you just write down and answer 10 questions that you think I could ask on the exam.